I don't do modifications to cars very often, but that's something, yeah, that I really like. Hello guys, and welcome to this VolksWizard video, which today is a modifications video because we're going to make two changes to my Golf GTI TCR, which, in my opinion at least, should make it look even better than it does today. Now, you may know I'm not a massive fan of these matte black mirror casings because they just don't match the gloss black trim elsewhere on the car. Well, we're going to swap these out for a carbon fibre version, which was actually a factory option when the car was new. While we've got the mirrors disassembled, we're going to swap out the boring standard mirror indicators for some dynamic mirror indicators from OSRAM. Now, these illuminate in the direction that you're indicating. You've probably seen them on cars. They've been around for about 10 years now. In fact, this 7.5 GTI has got them on the back of it, so they should look really good together. So without any further ado, let's get mirror modding my Golf GTI TCR. Okay, before we get started, I just want to say this is a very straightforward job for any semi-skilled DIYer. It should take about half an hour to do both sides, and you only need two tools to do it. The first tool is a plastic wedge to pop the mirror lens off, and a T10 Torx driver to undo the screws that hold the mirror indicators into the body of the mirror. That's quite small though, so you may not have that, so just check you have before you get started. Very cheaply available on eBay. Okay, let's firstly talk about the dynamic mirror indicators, and these are made by a big German company, OSRAM. They have got a 5-year guarantee, which is 2 years more than these had when they left the factory. So they're at least as good quality as those. They're ECE approved, which means they're legal for use in Europe, which may not be the case for some of the cheaper ones on eBay. You don't want to compromise with a safety item like this. These are $179.99 per set, and you can buy them online from official OSRAM suppliers like Auto Bulbs Direct. I'll put a link to their shop in the description below, but this is not by any means a sponsored video. There are two versions available, a white edition which matches OEM, and a black edition, if you is gangster, which has got a tinted lens, which I think is the one for this car because it's grey and black, so it should look really good. As for the carbon fibre mirror casings, I'm afraid I can't actually give you a link to buy these because these are second hand. They were very popular around 5 years ago on the VW Golf R Owners Club forum. They're about £120. From places like Euro Car Parts. I think Awesome GTI sold them for a bit more as well. They're made by a company called GRD, and I like them because they're a very close match for the factory fitted ones that were a £400 option on this car. And it's the time to do it because you've got to take the mirror casing off to do the dynamic mirror indicator anyway. So yeah, the fact these are going to go on is a bonus. Right, I think that's it then. So let's get stripping down the mirrors on my Golf GTI TCR. Okay, I've got 3 cameras running for you today then. That one, and this silly one on my forehead. But this is really good because it helps you see inside the mirror at exactly what I'm doing. Right, first thing you need to do is just push the mirror lens down a bit, maybe not all the way, so you can get the plastic wedge behind it. So we're going to use this to lever the glass off. Now you have to be very, very careful. Just do it very gently at first, and you'll see, hopefully, it'll come off pretty easily, he says. So it always tends to come off on the left hand side or the inner edge first, and then with the other edge off you've got some clips on the bottom, so just try and run it down the side of the lens until that comes off. I think we're nearly there, just one inner lower now, that's off. Now officially you should take the mirror lens off, but I just hate taking stuff off when I don't need to, so I'm putting this foam from the mirror actually around it. It's just, it can't do any damage there. Okay, now to get the mirror casing off. The good news is you can do this with your fingers. 2 little tabs, plastic tabs, much easier to do with feel using your fingers than it is a screwdriver. So I better show you. So there's one there. The other one, probably hard to see it, but it's in there somewhere. I can't really see it. There it is, yeah, you can feel it. So push that down, you hear it go click. And that one as well. Now you can see it probably moved a mil or two off the casing. Might need to do this one again actually. There you go, just make sure you don't shoot it down the car park. Okay, so those are the 2 tabs then. So you're basically, all you're doing is you're pushing them down with your fingers, sliding it out. Right, to put that aside, you might need it one day, or if you're going to refit it, obviously refit it. Now we need to undo the mirror indicator, so 2 T10 Torx screws. Try not to drop these into the body of the mirror because they can be a bit of a pain to get out, especially if you haven't got a magnet, so just be extra careful. Just catch them with your finger like that, put them somewhere safe, which is on my phone. And there's the second one. This one's a bit harder because it's almost under the sort of bit, the innards of the mirror where the motor is, and I can't really get my finger in there, so this is the one you're most likely to drop. So I think I'm going to deploy the magnets because this is much easier to do now than when you've already dropped it. That's not exactly the best one for this job. I think it's still stuck in there a bit. Yep, that's loose. So that's the T10 there, tiny little screw, but it's not got an awful lot to do. Okay, now this is the tricky bit. If you don't want to break this lens, it's going to be quite tricky because there's a lip that this slots into, and there's a bit of glass at the bottom of here that is the slot basically that secures this to there. So really you need to go backwards and then upwards. All this was built in a different way in the factory, so it's very hard because there's no room to go back. So any sort of forcing, you're going to break the lip off the bottom of the mirror indicator. It doesn't make an awful lot of difference because it's really secure and it won't crack the lens, but yeah, it's tricky, and I've already done it on this one, but I'm going to try not to make it worse. So what I found was useful was just maybe using a plastic wedge to ease it out, but it's hard. So by doing that, I pushed it back a bit and it's cleared the body, but really, unless you dismantle this more, you're going to break this lip off. So yeah, as I say, they go back in perfectly fine. Okay, and then you've got the little bit where it's sticking into the front of the mirror, so just be careful not to break that off. Sorry, did I mention the plug? You've got to undo the wiring, obviously, with a little clip, just a very lightly sprung clip there. Okay, so the OSRAM manual says this just comes up. Oh, it does, but this is the lip there. Can you see it? And that's the bit that secures it into here, which is the lip. So yeah, anyway, there's a bit where it's broken off, and can you really see that? No. So I wouldn't worry too much about fitting that if you fit it again in the future. Right, that's the stripping down. Let's make sure we put the right one on. So we want the other side. So this is the black edition lens. So to make sure it's the right side, PCBs on the inside. These little bits there that actually hold the mirror casing are there on the top, and that bit's on the outside. So that looks good to go. Now, there is the lip. It's actually probably bigger on this one. So it's more pronounced. It's bigger on the inner edge though. So if you can get that in, I think you're probably home and dry. So let's try and do that. Okay, that's looking promising. That is looking promising. Just got to line that bit up and keep that down, which is a bit tricky. What's wrong in here? Yeah, it's sticking over now, so that's not good. We don't want to break it, do we? So let's just try again. Push that down. Yeah, that's looking better. Okay, let's just try and pull it up and out. Not bad. Let's just line this up now. So we've got to get the little tab bit through the hole there. That's perfect. It's not as visible being a black edition, but it's definitely through. So just check this out. It should all be lined up. The holes should be perfect, which they are. That's good. I'm happy with that. It looks a bit funny with that bit exposed, but that gets covered by the mirror. Make sure you plug it in. You don't want to be doing this again. I can tell you. Right, screws. you might be excited at this point and not be too careful, so just beware. He says that's in. So just pull this forward so you can screw it in straight. Final screw. These are 1 Newton meter torques, which is nothing, so don't worry about it. Don't put too much force on it, that's all I can say. That's good. Now, they do say try it before you do too much else, so let's just check. Yes, looking good. Okay, right, onto the mirror casing then. So just like the OEM ones, these have got 2 clips there and there, so you need to line those up. And these are a little bit stiffer than these. These have got quite a bit of flex, which makes them easier to fit. These ones are very hard, so let's see how we get on. That's the wrong side. Okay, we've got a locator there, there's a slot there, got the 2 locators there, so that's your little guide to getting it right. And obviously we've got clips we need to line up, but you can't see those. So just check that's too high there. Right. Ta-da! With a serious click, that went into place, so it almost feels like it's in tension on the body. Just push that in a bit more. Yes, that looks good. Okay guys, well, it may appear that I made quite a bit of a meal of fitting these to my TCR, but that's because they're carbon fibre and they're not original equipment. This is a genuine Golf R mirror casing, and if you're just fitting the DMI and refitting this, I can show you now how easy it can be. You just need to make sure the clips line up nicely. So the way I think is best is to line this inner edge up, but make sure you push the mirror over to the outside, otherwise the clips won't line up, and then it all falls into place much more easily. Just make sure this edge goes into the body of the mirror, and that, guys, is how easy it can be. Right, let's put the mirror lens in before something goes wrong. Okay, so all you have to do is just line it up and sort of carefully push it into place. You'll know when it's in place, but just check it before you go driving. We don't want it falling out. Right, what do you think? I'm going to come over there and we'll look at it. Yeah. Obviously, guys, you've got to repeat the job on the other side, but it's just the same, so there's no point me showing you how to do that. Right, well, what do you think? I'm really impressed with these GRD carbon fibre mirror casings, which is a bit of a shame because you can't actually buy them as far as I know, but I can see why the guys on the VWR Owners Club forum were all over them, because the fit and finish is really good. I think they look just like the ones that the car could have left the factory with if you paid £400 extra for them, so I'd quite easily pay 150, maybe even 200 if I could buy them on the aftermarket, but as far as I know, you can't. There will be others, but whether they'll be this good, I don't know. Same goes for the OSRAM dynamic mirror indicators. Being an OEM brand, they just look like they left the factory as well on the car. And the tinted lens really suits this carbon fibre mirror casing, but I'm pretty sure it would suit also the original matte black one. And that just looks OEM as well. So I'm sure there's some LED versions of these that just look a bit wrong, but no, that looks proper, absolutely correct. So yeah, I'm really happy with that modification. I don't do modifications to cars very often, but that's something, yeah, that I really like. Hopefully you do as well, guys. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this Volkswizard modifications video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Please do share it around, and also please do comment. And as ever, please do subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, then thanks very much for your support. If you're not, then just click the subscribe button. It's free, and I'll see you for the next video, hopefully very soon.